Took a 7-hour flight from New Jersey to Amsterdam. Didn't get any sleep. Took a bus from the airport to city center. Got lost. Wandered around till I found my hotel. Front desk guy says I can't check in till 2 p.m. It's 7 a.m. right now. I kill some time checking out the Gothic architecture and the lovely canals. Find a hash bar. Have a coffee and smoke a joint in the morning air. Decide to walk around the red light district at 9 a.m. Who does that? Nothing's really open. I stop for a cannoli. I watch pigeons flirt. I wander around, get lost, too stoned. I follow the graffiti, get hypnotized by my own footsteps. More canals. Everything's really slow. Sex is everywhere you look. The buildings are weird. It's almost too quiet. Cathedrals. I meet up with Jack. We grab some food before heading back to the hotel. It's a lot further away than I thought. Back at the hotel, the room is nice. We check in. Chill out. It's even got a courtyard. I catch about 3 hours of sleep before we head back downtown to see Jeff Rosenstock play at a tiny club show. It's hella rowdy. We wander back to the red light district. It's a lot more alive at night. The sex workers in the windows, intoxicated tourists, synthetic drugs, marijuana smoke laughs around every corner. We get back to the hotel. I film myself and try to make it look convincing. Got a show tomorrow here at the Greenfield. I play at 7. Tell me about your day. Woke up in Amsterdam. My knee hurts from walking for 7 hours straight yesterday. Or maybe it's the cramped plane ride. Maybe I'm just getting old. Regardless, keep on moving. Like I always say, be 2 steps ahead of the Grim Reaper. One to outrun him, the other to throw him off the trail. By the time he catches up, he'll be too exhausted to kill you. We walk around town for a few hours, grab lunch. I eat a salad, defiantly take my medication, cause mortality will never take me alive. Speaking of drugs, the irony of Amsterdam's XXX straight edge flag is not lost on me. We hop a train, not the cool hobo kind. We ride for an hour. I have no idea where I'm going. I'm following Jack. He booked the tour. We stop and rest for a while before heading to the venue. It's a weird off-the-grid punk squat in the middle of nowhere, filled with cool metal art sculptures, spray paint everywhere. We are shown our sleeping quarters in a trailer on the far corner of the property. Hang out with the locals. I jump in a ball pit. I wander around the grounds, checking out all the giant silos. This place is a menagerie of art. Blessed are the junkyard utopias, hidden away in the far corners of the earth. I record a video for TikTok. Gotta keep that content rolling. Bounce on a trampoline. A lot of fun. The first band plays at 8. I forget their name, followed by a solo guy. Don't remember his name either. I play my first set of the tour. It's flawlessly amazing. Time to crash out. I got a house show in Belgium tomorrow. Oh yeah, and to the person who told me to grow up, I'm already an old soul. You're just boring. If a troll took a shit in your mouth, it would taste like this coffee. We wake up, eat breakfast. It's pretty decent. Walk to the train station. Eat the worst pizza I've ever had in my entire life. Play some guitar while waiting for the train. Warning, today was a lot of boring train rides. We spend a total of 3 hours on trains. Less than impressive scenery. I sleep as much as I can in between windmills. I do the moonwalk in a train station where they sell bread and vending machines. Oh look, here comes another train. Boredom is clearly settling in. I'm glad I didn't bring my vinyl records and have to carry them in a box through all this walking. I'm tired. We hit our last stop and head to the spot where the hosts of the house show pick us up. We head to a town called Pear in Belgium. The house show is pretty cool. I played here years ago but don't remember until I show up. A girl named Ava prints my patches. Thanks, Ava. I eat some delicious vegan lasagna. Tastes like candy. There's a free clothing store here. It's pretty cool. Total DIY setup. A guy named Folkert is the first act to play, followed by Rabid Jack, a band called Sec, and then Johnny Kowalski, the guy who played last night. I remember his name now. I set my merch up on the floor and play my set. People are really into it. 10 out of 10 show. Can't complain. After my set, I'm given Belgian beer with the number of the beast on the label. Thanks, Folk Punk Takeover, and everyone who put on the show tonight. Later. I'm always the first one awake on tour. I can't help it. Life is too beautiful to hide behind your eyelids for too long. We thank the folks who set up the show in Peer, Belgium, and head to the train station. It's only a short ride today to the town of Eindhoven in the Netherlands, where we are greeted by our show host. He doesn't want to be on camera, but I love his girlfriend's t-shirt he's wearing. He takes us to our crash spot. Every place we've slept on this tour so far looks like the inside of a clubhouse. I dig it. We wander around town for a while. It's bustling with energy. We get some bar food and make out with an ice cream cone. The venue is a 30-year-old punk squat. These huge squats are a thing in Europe. The cops don't hassle them, unlike the States, where something like this would get shut down almost immediately. There's cool graffiti art at every turn. The place is run in a collective fashion, and all the people here are really cool and truly embody the DIY spirit. There's Ava from last night offering us beer I'm not going to drink. The place has a cool main stage in the center room. I play a song in the alley for TikTok. People start gathering for showtime. The first artist is a girl named Stitch. I didn't get any footage of her because my phone was charging. Sorry. The band from last night, Sheck, plays again, followed by Johnny Kowalski, who's followed us to this show as well. Then it's me. I guess I'm the headliner. Much to my surprise, the crowd here rocks out to every single song, singing all the words, sticking around for the entire set. I had no idea my music was known to this degree all the way over in Eindhoven. This is a show I'll remember for a long time. Thanks, y'all. We make some new friends and head back over to our crash spot. The Netherlands have been great. Tomorrow we have a day off before heading to the UK. Woke up in a loft at 6 in the morning and dove into a really delicious breakfast of eggs and whatever else was in the kitchen prepared by Shay, who had slept on the couch the night before. Jack convinced me to hang out in this little town called Haarlem for the day. It's the capital of the province of North Holland and became a city in 1245. The place feels like something out of an old vampire movie with its Gothic and Renaissance style architecture, though sometimes a construction obstruction forces the old world to meet the new one. The overcast day lays the perfect backdrop for exploring Haarlem's whimsical windmills, narrow streets, and lazy canals. You can almost hear the conversations of oblivious ghosts floating around in infinite circles, limbo echoes of a long-forgotten time. The highlight for me was the massive St. Bavo church that serves as the towering centerpiece of this concrete ballet. It was built in 1245 and remains home of one of the most beautiful organs I've ever seen. A 10-year-old Mozart played it for an hour during a trip with his father to the Netherlands in 1766. Knowing Mozart's presence once inhabited this place really trips me out. We stopped for cheesecake at a real American bakery. It's cold and stormy on the 30-minute walk to our hotel, but in life you either get wet or you feel the rain. We reached the Max Hotel. I don't know who Max is. And that is how you spend a day off. Took a 7 a.m. flight out of Amsterdam. I'm running on 2.5 hours of sleep, but shall persevere and keep up appearances. I've never been one for airplanes. It's only an hour flight, they say, but it only takes a minute to die in a plane crash. The flight is entirely over water. I try to convince myself that drowning in the ocean is better than exploding on dry land, but I know the latter is more efficient. We touch down in Manchester, England, and grab our rental car, and then head across a galaxy of green until we cross into Scotland. I'm playing a show tonight in Glasgow. Oh look, makes me homesick for Baltimore. The gig is at a place called the Old Toll Bar, a gorgeous Victorian pub dating back to the 1800s. Detailed wood carvings are littered along the walls. There's even a legend that the roof was remodeled by a crew of sailors as payment for a massive bar tab. The show is in the basement. This guy Matt set it up. Same fella who booked me the last time I played Glasgow. A fella named Rory is the opener. Then I play my set to a room full of 12 people, all who came to see me specifically, which is pretty cool in my book. I carry my merch to the car. Would you believe it's only 10 o'clock here and still light out? We sit around and chat with some folks from the show. The cozy atmosphere beckons me to drink, but I abstain. Here I am back at the crash spot, writing the words you're currently listening to. I call that Mata. My guitar keeps going out of tune during my set, so I took it to the doctor. Time will tell if his treatment works. If you've never been to Edinburgh, Scotland, you're missing out. It's a city straight from a fairy tale, dates back to the 7th century, has a castle built on top of an extinct volcano, and streets littered with medieval architecture and rich history, a strip club named after 2 18th century murderers. You can't go wrong with a place like this. I fell in love with the mysterious and whimsical atmosphere here the first time I ventured to the UK in 2018. This experience was no different. I killed some time wandering around Greyfriars Kirkyard Cemetery. Dating back to 1602, this place holds some of the most intricate tombstone designs to ever catch your eye, including one for a dog named Bobby who kept visiting his owner's grave after he died for 14 years. Most famously, of course, are the tombstones etched with the names that were used for the characters in the Harry Potter books. There's the Harry Potter stone, blocked off with ropes to avoid vandalism. There's the school that inspired Hogwarts, another Harry Potter reference. We stopped by a random vintage store down the street. Check out that Victorian dress. Find me a girl who can rock that style and she'll smitten me something stupid forever. The clothing here is far more interesting than anything I've seen in the States. We curl up the winding hill into Old Town. There's the Gothic Tolbooth Church, known as the Hub on Castle Hill, part of a stretch of road called the Royal Mile, the main street which the city originally developed. There's the St. Giles Cathedral. I'm going to check out what's inside in the next video. You've probably realized by now that I have an odd affinity with old churches. It's something about their triumphant beauty. Their towering walls and steeples stand like glorious crescendos. Inside St. Giles Cathedral, I am faced with more evidence of what humans were capable of before technology distracted and rotted our brains. Built in 1144, it holds the monument to Archibald Campbell, the Marquis of Argyll. He was executed in 1661, his head placed on a spike for the townsfolk to see. Here is a monument to Walter Scott, a writer and poet, the second largest monument to a writer in the world, at 200 feet tall. Maybe someone will build one that high for me one day. Confronted with the sunset, we head on over to a bar called the Banshee Labyrinth. I drink a cocktail called Dracula's Bite and play a few songs for the locals at the open mic. Then we head on over to a bar called Whistle Binkies for the actual show. It's a rowdy basement pub, and I'm playing with a band called 21 Melville Street, a bunch of cool guys who give me the rock star treatment. First band to play is the Halftime Project. I follow them with a fast-paced set with minimal talking in between songs. Surprisingly, I draw a handful of fans to this show. I get too drunk and forget the lyrics to American Idiot while I sing it with the Halftime Project. 21 Melville Street closes the night out, wasted, but they kill it. They proclaim their music career won't get any better than playing with me. I laugh and tell them that neither will mine. See you tomorrow. Someone asked me the other day why I continue to make these little vignettes when the views on my various social media platforms remain relatively low. I don't care. I enjoy making things. That's what I do. I think chasing the nebulous approval of the algorithm is an empty and cheap way to go about art. We leave Scotland and find ourselves in Wexham, a town in Wales, England. Here's another St. Giles Cathedral. Who was St. Giles anyway? Well, in the 7th century, he was known as Giles the Hermit, patron saint of the handicapped. There's your random bit of religious history for the day. We decide to splurge on a fancy dinner. The waiter gets our order wrong and loads us up with an extra meal for free. It was as delicious as it looks. Next day, we head back to Manchester, England to meet up with Dustin and Benny from Walter, etc. Dustin will be doing a solo set of his own on the second half of this tour with me. His music's great, check it out. The show tonight is at another old-timey pub called the Eagle Inn. I love the Victorian interior of these places. It's like getting drunk with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Check out this awesome dog roaming around, and this pretty cool cat. I party with some folks outside while waiting for the show to start. The first artist is a guy named Patrick who goes by the name of Clouster, followed by a girl named Sophie. Both play solid sets. Dustin from Walter, etc. plays next. About 40 people show up for us. He's a cool addition to the tour since we both share a chunk of the same fan base. It's a pretty cool show with a lot of singing along from the audience. With the exception of some guitar tuning issues, I'd say it's a 10 out of 10. We crash for the night back at Patrick's house. I'm looking forward to the rest of this tour. It's shaping up to be a good time. Today we find ourselves in the quaint little seaside town of Portsmouth in England. We wander around a while to kill some time before the show. It reminds me of the Baltimore Harbor, Santa Monica Beach, Cali, and some northeast coastal spot in the USA.
Here we are at the English Channel.
I love being by the water, so this stop is particularly enjoyable for me.
Jack's got nothing to say.
The water here is green and clear. There's a cool breeze in the air, and it's a perfect day to be exploring a beach. Jack, Dustin, and I decide to take a harbor cruise on a boat and learn a bit about the local history. Then we stop at a Cadbury egg store. I've never seen one before, so that was kind of cool. We grab some fish and chips for lunch, then head on over to a place called The Vault for the show. We hang out with Carrie, the lady who set us up here. She's really cool. I sneak out for more fish and chips when no one's looking. It's about showtime when I get back to the venue. Dustin plays first to a pretty full room of receptive people. I also find out that he was born on May 11th. I'm born on July 11th. He's a Taurus and I'm a Cancer. And we both share the same number 9 life path. So if you're into that kind of thing, you know we're supposed to be good buddies and change the world or something. Jack doesn't buy it, but he's an Aries, so that tracks. I play my set and win the crowd over. I love trying to figure out what kind of show I have to put on to match the feel of the audience in the room. It's like a puzzle. I call it vaudeville psychology. A gang of tough biker guys is in attendance. They tell me that they like my songs, and if I'm ever in trouble over in Portsmouth, they got my back. It's been a solid night. Thanks, Carrie, and everybody who came out. See you next time. Also, by the way, I just want to say that in yesterday's video, I said that Wales is part of England. Wales is not part of England. Wales is its own thing. My brain's just a little fatigued from being on the road for 2 months. Sometimes you leave your wallet at the bar. I forgive you for that. You can give me a break too. Bye-bye. I never thought I'd end up in Nottingham, England. Honestly, it's one of those places I forgot was even real. Just a mythical spot from Robin Hood folklore. But I assure you it is real, and so is Robin Hood. The local economy would like you to think so, at least. I meet up with my friend Georgina to have a drink at England's oldest inn called Ye Old Trip to Jerusalem. Established in 1189 AD, its claim to fame is that Richard the Lionheart and his men stopped here for a few drinks on their way to Jerusalem during the Crusades. Regardless of the validity of this story, the place is certainly old. Built into the rocks of Nottingham Castle, the interior is one of a kind, something I've never seen anything like in my life. I wish I had more time to sit and really enjoy some of the places I've been in my travels, but I'm always on a time crunch due to having to play shows and to get from place to place day after day. In life, you can either experience a lot of things in a glance or a few things in a gaze. I've mostly lived the former, but sometimes you stumble on a place that makes you want to stick around for a while. The show tonight is at a DIY punk venue, and the first band to play is called Cheap Dirty Horse. They're honestly one of the best folk punk bands I've heard in a long time. The crowd is really cool and packs the place out with a lot of energy. Walter Etc. plays next and delivers a laid-back, solid set, despite feeling a little under the weather and looped up on cold medicine. I'm a little disappointed in my set. I felt like I could have played better, but the dozen or so kids I draw don't seem to agree. Everyone thought it was great. Some kid even flew from Ireland just to see me play. Unreal. I gave him a CD for free for his efforts. We closed the night out by partying at a pub downtown with some of the Cheap Dirty Horse folks. It's been a fun day, coming up on the home stretch of shows. I'm not ready for it to end yet. Woke up scattered across the Cheap Dirty Horse living room, hopped a train to London, made the much-discussed pilgrimage to Big Ben, where we proceeded to take 300 selfies. Big Ben was originally known as the Elizabeth Tower. Its construction began in 1843 and was completed in 1859. It somehow survived World War II and remains a marvel of Victorian architecture that stands taller than the Statue of Liberty. Also, no one really knows who Ben was. We stopped for lunch at a place called the Two Chairmen, very festive. Then head over to check out Buckingham Palace. Everyone has been talking in their own version of a terrible English accent for 3 days. It's bloody obnoxious. The show tonight is at a bar called the Fighting Cocks in London. A fan is waiting for me outside the venue to sign his Tumbleweed vinyl. There's a bunch of phone booths sculpturized to look like falling dominoes. First up to play is Crow, first time I've met them. Sweet person, fun set of folk punk songs. Boogity Smack plays next, a 4-piece folk punk band with catchy tunes and a cello. All of them are really excited to play with me and Walter. Speaking of Walter, it's pretty impressive that he's played this whole tour without a set list and basically just takes requests from the crowd. He's the embodiment of West Coast good vibes. Great guy to be around. Then there's me, overthinking everything and going a million miles a minute 24/7. It's a funny way to make a living. Feels like I've accomplished something with this tour. It's one of the best ones I've ever been on in my life. Walter and I somehow end up on a bus with a bunch of the artists from the show and a boatload of random people. We go back to Boogity Smack's house to party and play folk songs in their living room. They've got a really cute pet hedgehog. It's the first big party night of the tour. We stay up late and get into all kinds of trouble. I somehow end up back at the hotel at 4:30 in the morning. Fun times are had by all. Maybe a little too much fun. After my set that night, a girl came up to me and told me she felt she had witnessed something really special. Whatever that means, I'll take it.
I might die broken, lonely, and unknown. You'll finally recognize me when I'm gone. But everything I've worked for fades away and falls apart. I'll paint my masterpiece and call it art. I'll paint my masterpiece and call it art. Thanks, everybody.
Y'all ever broken into Stonehenge and gotten kicked out by a security guard? Well, I have. That's how Walter and I started our day. It was a narrow escape. Army crawling through high grass with hound dogs on our trail, but we made it to our show in Plymouth, England at the Nowhere Inn on time. We didn't get to see the rocks for too long, but you gotta admit that breaking into Stonehenge is pretty rock and roll. We walked down to the water and checked out an old bombed out church, as well as a house that was built in the 1500s. It's the oldest house in Old Town. We move along down to where the Mayflower first set sail in 1620 and the American colonialism train wreck party all began, and I become the first person to moonwalk over the commemorative plaque. I'll be honest, I had no idea this stuff even went down in this city until we got here. Shows how much I'm paying attention at this point in the tour. Back at the Nowhere Inn, Crow joins us again for another set of songs, followed by a guy named Sam Tucker who's really excited to play a show with me. He's got a folky political vibe, nice guy. Walter plays next and extra kills it tonight. A good portion of the crowd is singing along to his entire set. I'm up next and not really satisfied with my performance tonight when it's all said and done. I just don't feel on my game, but the crowd loves it. They don't care. I try to redeem myself by playing in the middle of the room for my last song. Still not feeling good about it. Better luck next time. Walter and I finish off the night by signing posters for fans and tagging up the bathroom walls. The folks at the venue think it's the coolest thing ever. It's nice being treated so well. Everybody should get a chance to feel like a rock star once in a while. This is it, last show of the tour. Crow and Jude from Fire Jam Booking made us breakfast. Then I headed into town to have a local traditional meal called a pesty, meat and veggies stuffed into a pastry wrap. The miners used to eat them underground back in the day while on the job. Crow and Jude hitched a ride with us to the venue at a place called the Exchange in Bristol, England. Last time I was here, I played to a packed bookstore, got a bunch of free Molly, and stayed in a castle they turned into a Marriott hotel. Here's Crow.
We'll show you how to feel love. We'll set you up with a Pless Europe.
Next up was my favorite band I saw on the tour, Cotswold Trash. This song's a banger. Next up is Walter. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't gonna miss him.
So upon some cloudy day, we'll make a million pancakes. We'll talk like it's been no time at all. Still young, dumb, impressionable.
As for me, I ended on a good note.
Stop the world, I wanna get off.
Find you playing fiddle, watch it roll, burn down. Playing fiddle, watch it roll, burn down. You can find me playing fiddle, watch it roll, burn down. Playing fiddle, watch it roll, burn down.
Thanks, Jude from Fire Jam Booking, for 3 great shows. Jack and I spent the next 3 days hanging out in Ireland and checking out the Titanic exhibit, which was pretty darn cool. We capped it all off with a trip to the cliffs of Muir, where I'm pretty sure a ferry flew right by me. Yeah, I believe in fairies. You kind of have to do what I do, because what's a lot of hard work without a little bit of magic? Thanks everybody for taking this ride with me. It's definitely one of the best tours I've ever been on. I'll see you down the road, somewhere in between your blinks. Later.